Chapter 22. The completion of the law. Fulfill the completion of the law. Humans aren't able to meet God because due to sin, their relationship with God is blocked. To meet God, an offering of blood needed to be given by sacrificing an animal. To solve human sin, cattle, sheep, and doves died instead. The chief priest is a person who holds the ceremony of offering sacrifices to God. So the offering for sacrifices must go into the hands of the chief priest. That is why Judas sold Jesus as one lamb, and from the temple, the chief priest handed over the price of an offering, 30 pieces of silver. As offering to be given, Jesus was given over to the hands of the chief priest, and Jesus bore the cross in place of the sinner. Jesus the Lamb is the greatest offering amongst offerings of the law. This sacrificial offering was never there before nor after. This sacrificial offering was never there before nor after, and is the greatest offering in the history of mankind. By bearing the cross, Jesus ended the offerings of blood. Due to Jesus being offered, the curtain of sacrificial offerings of blood was brought down. As God's Son, Jesus is someone who came to give them life, and the chief priest is the representative of Israel. Therefore, that the chief priest gave money and purchased Jesus was the Israelites purchasing an offering and handing over the law which they had with them. God received this law and resolved the sin of humankind. Jesus fulfilled the completion of Israel and completion of the law. The completer of the law is the Messiah. By Jesus bearing the cross, the veil of the temple, the veil that was covering the temple, tore. By tearing the veil, the relationship between God and the human became restored, and the completion of the law fulfilled, completing the incomplete temple. During the time the Israelites offered sacrifices of the law by catching an animal, God sent Jesus to this earth as the Messiah. Jesus ended the sacrificial offering of blood on the cross. By God's love, Jesus fulfilled on the cross the completion of the offering of blood. So when the Israelites received Jesus, the law inside them would become complete. For this work, Jesus went in search of the Temple of Jerusalem. Jesus poured out the money of the people who bought and sold animals and who exchanged money in the temple, and Jesus overturned the table. The reason Jesus overturned the table is that the era had changed, and sacrificial offering of blood was unfit for God. The temple had changed from a temple that can be seen to the temple of the Spirit. So Jesus was saying that he will overturn the temple and raise it again. When he said in John 2:19, "Destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up," the Jewish people heard this word of the Spirit in the flesh. They responded in John 2:20, "This temple has been under construction for 46 years, and you will raise it up in 3 days?" They spoke of the temple that can be seen, but Jesus spoke of the temple of the Spirit. When Jesus said to destroy the temple, Jesus was saying, destroy the method in which they are offering. The offering of blood had come to an end, so Jesus was telling them to receive the Messiah and offer spiritual sacrifices in the temple of their spirits. The resurrection of Jesus is the perfect temple of God. God's temple becomes raised in the spirit of the ones who receive the Messiah and acknowledge the resurrection of Jesus. Jesus resurrected, and the seed of the gospel was dispersed onto the land of the other. If so, of which temple would Jesus come in search when Jesus comes again? The inside of our spirits is the temple to which Jesus comes again. We must meet God from inside ourselves. If God's temple is the place where sacrificial offering is given, thankfulness, joy, and peace must come out. But what are the temples of today like? Instead of thanks and joy, they are crammed with worries and anxieties. Now, Jesus, who is to come again, makes our incomplete temple the completion of the offering of blood, to become the greatest sacrifice that the Israelites offered God. Jesus bore the cross. Jesus said on the cross in John 19:30, "It is finished." The meaning of this word is that God ended the offering of blood. All with regards to sin became fulfilled. God received Jesus through the cross and ended the sacrificial offering of blood. So God no longer accepted offerings of blood. Because Jesus completed the offering of blood, one could no longer meet God through such sacrifice. They had to receive the Messiah to meet God and fulfill the completion of the law. The Messiah rested upon them as new heaven and new earth. New heaven and new earth refer to completion. They could not meet God closely, but due to Jesus going as an offering, God rested inside of them. And so, there was a division between the temple that can be seen and the temple of the Spirit that cannot be seen. By those in the law receiving the Messiah, the temple of their spirits became perfectly fulfilled. The word of the cross that said, "It is finished," is the completion of the sacrificial offering of blood. This means that by the Messiah resting upon the law, God fulfilled all. By Jesus bearing the cross, Jesus made the law complete. Thus, the person who receives Jesus, the one who fulfilled all of the law, becomes a person who fulfilled all of the law. Completion by bearing the cross. God sent Jesus to this earth for Israel and the other. The Israelites, who kept the law only as laws, were incomplete because there was no life force inside of them. The one who gave life to the law and completed it was the Messiah. If not the Messiah, those who were in the law could not become complete. The Messiah came to this earth and bore the sin of humankind and went on the cross as the one lamb. By going up to God as an offering like this, sacrificial offerings of blood came to an end. By Jesus bearing the cross, Jesus fulfilled the completion of the law. If not Jesus, the other cannot receive salvation. Jesus took the other and grafted the other onto Israel, because no one can go to God without passing through the name of Jesus. God sent his Son to this earth. This is the unconditional agape love of God that sent the Son for humankind. By Jesus bearing the cross, Jesus completed the law and saved the other.